Hey, can everyone hear it? Should be hearing it. Okay, you can hear the music. That's all we need. Did it stop? I guess it stopped. Oh no, still going? Still going. Little theme there. Oh, this is... Uh-oh. Something happened with the camera. Hold on. Okay. Alright, sorry. Camera got tilted. Whoa, look at all those. Okay. Hello, everyone. Super Dusky, Nathaniel Foga, Austin, Cornbread, a guy named Crystal, Sinram, Boatman. I love that. Botman. Ramsey the Artist, Cornbread, Al Vasquez, Purple Goop, Austin. If I didn't say it before, I'll say it again. Cornbread. Sorry. Jordan Sluffalo. I can't always hear the music like through my OBS. Or I can't. So that's why I was like, did it? Oh, Rocket Lobax is here. But yes, here we are. Javier Portello. Hold on. Just in my shirt there. I think I sent it out everywhere. Let's just Dax. I'll just say Dax. I'm not. Anyway, hello. Look how colorful this is tonight. Anyway, I messed with settings before. Yes, hello. Welcome to Movie Crap Live. This is your movie and animation. Hello, Dan. Streaming show. And I'm glad to be here. It's been, I guess, 6 days since we did the show on Friday. I didn't really want to do a show on Wednesday because I was like, maybe there won't be enough news to talk about because it's been hello Ink. And thankfully it sort of worked out, but Wednesday was too busy anyway, so whatever, which always seems to happen when I'm like, I'm probably not going to do a Wednesday show, and then something pops up. Maybe I have like the vibes, I don't know, on that. I hope next week is a Wednesday show. Let's see. But it's still good to be here every week. You know what I mean? It's like, it used to be every month, and that sucks. But now it's like every week, so I feel good about that. Anyway, sorry. Okay. Drop my cards. Not much has happened this past week. Just watching X-Men, working on various projects. I did a podcast on Tuesday, which I guess I can talk about for my friend Matt Berry, which was a good podcast talking about my film Phone Buggin' and filmmaking in general and doing everything the indie way and all that's cool stuff. Let's move that mic. And that was actually really good. It was exhausting. Like I hadn't done a podcast in a while, and afterwards I think I just fell right asleep. I had a great time. I love talking to Matt, but afterwards I was like so that's why the videos were a little inconsistent this week, and I thought I could like edit more that night, and that was a dumb move. But I'm actually happy to do a podcast because it's been a very long time since I did one, and I will post it on the community tab and all that stuff when it comes out. But I was happy with the conversation. I thought it worked out. Is the audio? Oh, it does look like there's a weird delay. Oh well, I don't know if I can necessarily fix that, but apologies. Is it that delayed? Yeah, it is off sync. Oh well. Maybe if I could mess with settings, but then you're gonna have to watch me fuck around, and that's no fun. Oh well. I mean, at least it looks nice. Although it's hard to track my mouth with the mustache this way anyway. Trying to think of anything else crazy that I want to talk about. At least I can't think of anything else. Watching trailers. The one thing that happened that was I might do another Planet of the Apes. I like to do all the Planet of the Apes movies, like when there's a new one, do one of the sequels, because I feel like that's a nerd thing that I didn't. Oh, hey, notification. Didn't really, I don't know. I'd like to know the sequels better. And so I think the next one is like Conquest. And I tried to watch the trailer, and the trailer is just like the ending of the movie. And I was like, all right, what the fuck? What the fuck? This is some bullshit. Like, I don't know. People can play like trailers really give away everything. I'm like, no, this trailer like really goes for it. And they're like, here's the ending. Don't you want to see how we got here? And I'm like, I guess, but I don't understand. Anyway, but I that's sort of a series I sort of like doing. Although eventually, I've never reviewed Rise or the original Planet of the Apes or Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes, but I sort of like I would like to see all the sequels. If they keep making Planet of the Apes movies, maybe I'll just come around to it. Like I'd probably like once I've done all the sequels, do the original Rise and the Tim Burton one, or if if it gets in the movie review vote, obviously. Other than that, yeah, sorry it was so many shorts this week. I am working on a review of the People's Joker and the Godzilla Kong thing, and so anyway, I think People's Joker will be tomorrow, and I'm hoping Godzilla Kong will be Saturday, but we'll see. And I think that is, gosh, I can't think. Oh, I'm watching that show. Oh, Hey Chan Talks Movies. The only other thing, oh, you should do a marathon. It's fun to do a marathon. And there's an animated show that's actually pretty good. I don't know the live action show very well. I know Sci-Fi Channel used to play it. I'm trying to think. The show Under the Bridge. Pretty good show. Yeah, that was one thing with the short I did for Ripley. I would like to do shorts of stuff that I just like watch and I'm sort of into, and then I can like get those. I don't know. I could do that as little shorts. So maybe Under the Bridge. I'm sort of into that show, though it had a twist towards it. Oh yeah, here's the thing. So Riley Keough is in that show, and this is not a joke. Every time I see her name, just see the name Riley Keough, I go, she's somebody's kid. Like, she's a Nepo baby. And I'm like, can't remember why she's a Nepo baby. And this has happened to me several times. I'm like, she's somebody, right? And then I Google her. And there's, when you Google someone, there's a picture of them. And I go, right, Elvis's granddaughter. And like, it's happened to me several times. And like, once you see her in something, it's like, she looks like Elvis. So it's like, you can tell. But it's very funny that like, so often, if she's in something and I see the name, I always go, what is that? Who is that? And then I Google it and I don't look at like the image. I go, right, okay, sorry. Because she's not Riley Presley. I don't know why, like Riley Keough. I don't know what that's about. One thing I will say I don't love about the Godzilla thing right now is like, when are we getting another Godzilla movie? I was like, we did these two, and then it's like, anyway. Okay, so throwbacks this past week, I had Spider-Man 2 in honor of Spider-Man 2 coming back into theaters. Nobody gets the energy drink. If someone selects it, I will reveal the energy drink, but not until then. Although I do need energy, so that would be good too, and support and stuff. What was I gonna say? Yes. Well, she looks like Lisa Marie, but Lisa Marie also looks like Elvis. That's what. Anyway, so yeah, I did Spider-Man 2 because Spider-Man 2 is back in theaters. That's an epic review I made of that in 2014 because there was another Spider-Man 2 coming out then. I don't think I'll throw back to every Spider-Man in theaters. That seems excessive. But there will be another one coming up. However, tomorrow, my other throwback of the week will be Blue Ruin, which was is a revenge film from 2014 that I really liked. That guy went on to do things like Green Room, and work on TV and all sorts of stuff. Jeremy Saulnier, I think. He's really cool, and that's where we got Macon Blair as well from Blue Ruin, so that's really cool. Super Dusky, show us the drink. Okay, so no one, unless I missed a tweet, no one got this, but they got Cornbread got close. Austin, I think, had the most tries, and I approve of that. But it is a monster this time because I went to the grocery store, and it is Ultra Watermelon. So nobody selected this Ultra Watermelon. I'm going to try it right now. Thank you. I'm glad somebody likes Blue Ruin. Yeah, my Blue Ruin review. And cheers to you. It's okay. It's okay. Give me some energy. All right. But yeah, I think we are getting the Toxic Adventure thing. I don't know when it comes out, but I think it's coming. But anyway, I just picked it to be different because I was like, I haven't done this one. I don't know. But yeah, so I'm kind of picking 2014 because I was making reviews then. It's a lot of 10th anniversaries, but I'm trying to mix it up. I have some good ones next week. I have a story for a throwback for next week on next week's show, which I'm kind of holding because I don't want to do it too early. Anyway, it'll make sense. It's a whole epic saga, believe it or not, which is kind of funny. That just happened too. But we'll get into that. I think that's everything. Yes? Okay, let's start the show. This and everything I do is supported by you, the fans, either through when I drink this amazing Monster Energy drink, which helps show some support, gets me helps me pay bills, support the show. Okay, why aren't you letting me like that? Okay, sorry there. Helps me pay bills, publicize this channel, get more equipment, everything like that. So me continue to keep the lights on here, as well as my Patreon, which has all sorts of stuff. There's going to be a DVD giveaway, which I need to test the DVDs, and I'm going to do a video for that, as well as you get postcards, you get more power in the movie review vote, you get my commentary series, which there seriously is one coming out soon. You get more interaction, and it helps support what I do, and I very much thank you if you're financially able to do so. Any amount, I'm not going to say something stupid like everyone can afford $6. If you are financially able to do so, I very much appreciate it. But if you can't, just liking or subscribing, so that way you know when I can stream that week, you're updated on it. You get the throwbacks. You can find out about the podcast when that comes out, all sorts of cool stuff, as well as following me on social media in places as well. But I think YouTube's pretty much my central hub. So you get all of that stuff, but as well as liking this or any of my videos, subscribing. And if you do a super thanks, like you can't be here and you always want to do a super chat, I will do a drink to the energy drink on the show preceding your super thanks. Unless you do it during the show. I'm not sure what happens then. But if I'm live, I mean. But if you want to do that, you can. There's lots of great ways to support the show, but just subscribing or just watching, I thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Dan the Man asks, I'm going to get to this, but it says, so with all the memes on Twitter, I asked my dad what his favorite Looney Tunes character is, and no joke, his response was Foghorn. Wow. Oh my God. That's pretty funny. Your dad has good taste. Cheers to you, Dan. Hello, Ace. Oh, Jordan, I hope you're doing better. If you want to just DM me the message, sometimes that is cool too. You can just message me on something. Just if you do, since you are busy during the show, just put something in the chat so I see it, and I will read your message. I'm sorry that you're so big. Gary's here. Gary sent me a story that we'll talk about later. Also, my Discord, which is a great community. If you like everyone in the chat here, you think they're all cool, you'd like to hang out with them anytime, you should join the Discord server. It's really cool. They have general where I ask things like, hey, what do you want me to talk about in movie crap tonight? So I can read the room there. You get the movie they do a movie watch every weekend. I'm not sure which one they're doing tomorrow. I believe it's Friday or Saturday. I'm not sure which one. Hello, Garrett Newell. There's all sorts of cool stuff, including the licensed playing card channel. And sorry, and the Ask Jim section, suggestions for Jim, all sorts of cool stuff. It is a really, they're watching Space Ghost? Damn, they're watching cool Space Ghost. They're doing all sorts of cool stuff, and they do daily questions in general and all sorts of neat stuff. So thank you very much. Okay, it's been a long night. If you're able to do so, I very much, if you're able to join the Sorry, I got broken there. If you're able to join the Discord, I think it's a really great community. I highly recommend you do so. Sorry, Short Circuit. That's a cool movie. I need to see that one. Or review that one. I have seen that one. I would like to review those two. Those were big childhood ones. Anyway, last week we watched Space Ghost. This week, wait, are you doing Short Circuit or I Short Circuited? Short Circuit. Short Circuit on Saturday. Oh, fuck. That's very tempting. All right. Anyway, sorry. I showed up to one recently, and I actually really liked it, and I would like to do more, but it's just time-wise it doesn't. Also, if you want to follow me, I'm on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook fan page, Instagram personal, and the Reels account. TikTok. Did I say them all? As long as TikTok's still here, I'll be there, I guess. And yeah, all right, let's get into the show. What actually is the first story? Sorry, I was doing all this stuff to like clean before the show, and now I feel like the tiredness is hitting. Where's my water? Oh, hitting me a bit, but don't matter because Senpai, hello, Optimus Rim Job. Sorry, I love that name. Senpai has noticed us. In the creator and writer of Daily Dunkaccino, or just Dunkaccino, Robert Smigel, has acknowledged Daily Dunkaccino in an interview for a movie that I forgot about, but he has trailers for all over his Twitter. And he mentioned the Daily Dunkaccino, and he learned about it recently from Cracked doing an interview with him. So Dunkaccino has been acknowledged by Robert Smigel, who is also the creator of Triumph, the Insult comic dog, has noticed Dunkaccino. But let's get into it. Austin says, sorry, was on my phone wishing someone a happy birthday. Well, that's an awesome. Then Boston picked me up. I said, I'm your mantis, and we rock through the galaxy. Cheers to you, Austin. Thank you very much. But yeah, it was kind of funny. Dunkaccino coming back, and people are like, Robert Smigel didn't know. He didn't know? He didn't even know, man. I mean, these guys aren't online, but man, Dunkaccino, it was fun. I'm not Al anymore. Dunkaccino? What's my name? Dunkaccino. But it actually, like, going through the account again and seeing the last spin video, and I know and it actually someone I told about it, and they're like, you're in that video, and I'm like, yeah, it's kind of neat. I really loved that whole thing. I kind of wish it was still going, but I mean, you can't just reference Dunkaccino forever. I mean, we could though. It's just funny that he acknowledged it. I think he's trying to promote a movie, which funny is, like, I'm always like pro, like, just talk about what people want you to talk about. But like, I scrolled through his Twitter, and I hold on, I'm gonna copy this for Jordan. Jordan's it sounds like you're real busy, bro. I want to help out. I'm gonna hold on. We're gonna stop the show for Jordan. He's always cool. He's always helping out. Okay. Why is that like that? Whatever. You're down there. Fine. I have your question. Thank you, Jordan. All right. Hey, anyway, it's just funny. Yeah, it's funny when I scroll through it. I was like, I don't does anyone know what it is? Like, off the top of your head, don't look, or maybe help him out, or should we not? He's rich, I think. Anyway, has he ever followed up Dunkaccino? I don't think so. Although I think he's doing YouTube stuff with Triumph or something. Although, are you ever going to get better than Triumph at, was it episode 2? Or episode 3? Was it episode 2? No, I copied it. Don't worry, Jordan. Is it I don't know. That's like the best one, but man, I would get the giggles. For Triumph back in the day. Love. I actually find Robert Smigel quite interesting as a person, and it's funny that he would do Adam Sandler movies because I always thought he was more alternative at the time. Uh, he didn't. So, but it's yeah. I also think, does Al Pacino know? And wasn't it Al Pacino's birthday today? It's Ultimate Dunkaccino Day. Oh, it sounds like a cat stuck in a room. So I'm gonna be right back. Sorry. We'll cut. We'll go to Deadpool and Wolverine trailer right when I get back. But it is pretty amazing that Senpai noticed us all with the Dunkaccino. He probably saw, maybe even saw me. Probably didn't. Probably just saw that and got okay and moved on. But cheers to you, Robert Smigel, for finally acknowledging us. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, quick break there. Okay, so I don't think there's anything to add. Robert Smigel, I know it was you. What's it's just such a weird. Oh man, I forgot his Jack Breyer shit. I mean, he is a good. Robert Smigel is a legendary um, comedy writer. He really was part of the beginnings of Conan. He's worked with Adam Sandler. He's really a real legend. So it is kind of cool that he acknowledged it. It's just so weird that it's so far away. I hope the Daily Dunkaccino thing, I don't know if it's retweeted it. It hadn't when I checked earlier. But I hope they do. I hope they... Wasn't Nick Tendo or Salty... Or was I not supposed to say that? One of those guys involved? Anyway. So, okay, hold on. So we all just Alf Gordon to acknowledge Dan for that... So we all just... What? So we all just Alf/Gordon to acknowledge Dan for that review? I'm confused by this comment. Thank you for the super chat. Sorry. I'm confused. You know, I don't know. Yeah. What? Alf/Gordon? He's 84? Wow. It was Salty that ran it. Okay. I mean, Salty's a good guy. I like that guy. Anyway, cheers to you, Austin. I'm confused, but whatever. Man, Short Circuit on Saturday? You know, Short Circuit 2, I mentioned in my Shrek 2 review. That's how I heard We Need a Hero as the end when I was a kid. And Short Circuit 2 gets no respect now. It's all fucking Shrek 2 gets the... Oh, we need to... Oh, hold on. First off, cheers to you, Austin. Oh, we need Alf to acknowledge Salty DK Dan for him to review Alf. Oh, Alf Gordon Chumway. Okay. Sorry. The notification says, thoughts on Rob Liefeld. I love that guy. You know what? Thank you for the transition. The notification. Cheers to you. So I'll talk about this because I was a kid. I don't think I talk about this enough, but no, Salty's the Burger King foot lettuce guy. Everybody knows that. But I was a kid when Image hit, and I was going to comic book stores. My dad, as you know, is a big comic fan who I got into, comic books. And so those guys were like rock stars to me. But here's the difference between like even hearing like I keep reading Liefeld and Peter David have beef, and like it was understandable that Peter David sucked. Didn't know that. There was no like Twitter. These guys very rarely got interviewed on TV. If they did, it was in Wizard magazine, which was very protective of them. So it's kind of like when I was a kid, he was really cool. I know he didn't make enough Youngblood, and I thought he kind of sucked because of that. But other than that, like my opinions on him now, he's a little like cringy, but like I'm still like he's part of my childhood a bit. It's kind of like when the feet thing was definitely a thing, but like he was like, here's the tiers for me when I was a kid. Is Jim Lee was the top. He did X-Men #1. I always thought he was impeccable. when I was a kid. I still like him though. Liefeld was more of the celebrity guy. He did the Levi Jeans ad. He was like the kids who acted like they were cool in elementary school knew who Liefeld was. McFarlane was, again, I was in elementary school. In my mind, a little artier and weirder. Jay Lee, I think it was, I thought was cooler. Silvestri was like the older dog in the fight because I used to read the old Sylvester ones. So that was my. I didn't really get into Savage Dragon. I didn't know that was a thing till I was older. But anyway, Dax Drexhart says, "Have you seen the Annecy 2024 lineup?" I haven't. I have not. I'm sorry. I would Google that, but I have too many things. Maybe later. How about this? If we have time later, I will do it. But I have not seen it. I'm sorry, Dax. But thank you for the super chat. Cheers to you. Anyway, Savage Dragon. I didn't. I think I watched the show more than I. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Rob Liefeld. Although, well, I'll get to. There is one funny thing he did, and I'll like. All right, good, you're a good sport. Is the trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine came out? We see Wolverine or Hugh Jackman in the suit. Although many have pointed out that he already acknowledged the suit in Flushed Away. But maybe that's the reason to be Flushed Away. I don't know. But him and Ryan Reynolds together, we kind of get like a wham bam fancy trailer. I thought this trailer was fine. It seems to like hint at other things and other cameos. I think the high of X-Men right now that we're getting with 97, which I think is interesting because it seems to me, and a couple of people have called this out, and I noticed this because, and here's how I know is 100% older people watching X-Men 97, or not majority. I think there are younger people, but I think it like no one in their early 20s. Maybe you guys can argue if you disagree with this. I don't hear them talking about it as much, and I noticed because the X-Men memes and stuff tamper off through the week. Usually things that appeal to younger people post immediately. If it's older people, they see things slower. And even though I'm like just 40 and stuff, I think people in their 30s and 40s are still a little slower than the people in their 20s. And I noticed the references to X-Men are throughout up into Saturday. So maybe it's because people are, I don't know. Maybe it's because people are coming to it and stuff. Maybe it's because I follow too many old people. But maybe I'm wrong. It is a damn good show, whether you like it, watch the other one or not. Austin is contradicting me, but I'm glad you are, so maybe I'm wrong about that. Anyway, I think it was a fun trailer. It definitely made me a little hyped. I'm still a little like, I wish Logan was the end because I'll say that guys my age, guys who had kids right around the time Logan came out, Logan sort of represents a little bit more because it's like the thing with the kid and all. It represents a certain part of an end of an era for me. It was literally the last movie I saw before my daughter was born. So it's like, to me, it's like a nice bookend. So I feel like I have an emotional attachment to that movie. So I am a little like whatever, but Wolverine shows up in everything, so it's fine. Okay, maybe I'm wrong about the 20s, 40s. Okay, I'll take that back. You guys have shown me I'm stupid. But we'll see. But they jump into a portal and everyone's saying that they will jump into it and there'll be massive cameos and we're holding things back. I think it's like hopefully they're letting Halle Berry finally do something really cool with Storm. Hopefully we're seeing... I wouldn't be surprised if Donut Lord comes back. I think that Logan isn't perfect. I'll acknowledge that. I wouldn't mind. Gary's bringing up New Mutants. I wouldn't mind if New Mutants is. I don't know. I have issues with New Mutants, but that's also because it messed with the story I really like, and I thought I didn't appreciate how they did that. But yeah, if they get Donut Lord, Halle Berry, Famke Janssen, all those people, I think it'd be fun if they just do a cap on the end of the 20th Century Fox X-Men stuff, but it seems like they're really keeping it under wraps. But, we'll see. I think Deadpool, I'm not a big Deadpool person. Well, I'll put it this, here's my funny thing with Deadpool, is I actually laughed at Deadpool when I was a little kid. And I remember the first time Deadpool was kind of funny I think it was X-Force. And I was laughing and stuff. So maybe I've been a Deadpool fan longer than everybody, I guess. I don't know, whatever. But when I did my Tumblr comic scans, we did a thing on I did a thing on Deadpool, and I ended up reading these three where Deadpool went back in time, and each comic was like different eras. Like one was a '60s comic, I think it was '60s, '70s, and '90s, and they look exactly like '60s, '70s, and '90s comics. And it's just Deadpool was the only one who knew it. It wasn't, he was from the future. And like, if you can have Deadpool mess with that, I'm not the biggest Deadpool person, but I really like those comics. So if you can do stuff like that, I think that could really work. But anyway, I like that someone got the donut lord joke. We're doing the Sonic pilot tonight for Knuckles. I'm sort of excited for Knuckles because I like watching Sonic stuff with my kids. And when I brought up to them, I was like, Sonic 3 is coming to theaters. They're like, we're going to Sonic 3. I was like, all right. I like that. Kids like Sonic. Although I've heard mixed things on Knuckles. I'm a little worried about that, but whatever. All right. But yeah, we'll see. Oh, so here's the sorry. The thing with it was the Liefeld feet thing. There was a thing in the back said Liefeld's feet. Everyone on Twitter noticed it. And then Rob Liefeld, I will give him credit for this, was that they had, he actually just took a picture of his feet. And I was like, okay, I get that you, I like that. I thought that was cute. It's like I don't know. I think Liefeld could be a bit much on social media and stuff, but the fact that he's like Liefeld's feet is trending and he takes a picture of his feet, good sport. He could be a bit of a. He's like, look, guys, I've grown a lot with the feet thing. You can like let it go. He could have done that. It's like, look, I was in a jeans commercial directed by Spike Lee. Show some respect. It's like I'm Rob Liefeld. That's my Rob Liefeld. It's like, hey, yo, I'm Rob Liefeld. I'm walking here. Well, I'm not because I can't draw feet. Hey, all right. But it it was a fun trailer. I think we'll see more. The If trailer. Oh man, my kids do not want to see that movie, and that's like, people keep reading like it's gonna make the most of any original movie, and I'm like, that's depressing. There's another movie called If, and it has a massive school shooting in it, so I hope people don't get those confused. All right, that's not a joke. Look it up. If ... What happened to What happens to a toad struck by lightning? Wasn't that Joss Whedon? Wasn't that a Joss Whedon original? I think it is. Didn't he write that? Oh my god. Well, it's the same thing that happens to everything else. It dies. Anyway, cheers to you, Austin. You know what the thing that bugs me about If? Not the Roddy McDowall movie where there's a school shooting, it's a real movie, I'm not joking, is that in a post-Gumball world, you're telling me that all these kids all these kids imagined the same character design? Like, get fucked. Like, what is that? What is that? And then I hate in the trailer, Ryan Reynolds was like, what kid has an invisible if? Just say imaginary friend. Why did you short? I hate when people shorten stuff. I seriously don't like that. Like, everyone's like, has to have a short word for something. Then every time, it requires me to think more. Because then I got to remember what that fucking thing stands for. That doesn't help anything. You don't sound cool. Why isn't it called imaginary friend? Is it because of the horror movie? Wait, is it because of the horror movie? Wait, is that why? Oh my god. That's why, isn't it? That's hilarious. Oh my god, that just hit me. They couldn't call it that because the Blumhouse movie. And then it's like Ryan Reynolds in it. And he's like, oh, Blumhouse, I love you. All right, anyway. Oh my god. That is so funny. That there's like, the studio's like all for this movie. And like, Blumhouse was like, I'm sure they gave him a call. Like, could you change it? And they're like, no, we're not going to do that. I made The Purge, bitch. Anyway. Okay, moving on. Sorry, that just like hit me, and it's like funny that there's so much promotion around this on New York of this movie, and I was like, yeah, that horror movie that was like a blip was like, no, not moving, and like, so funny. All right, um, well, I think it's like if you pick the date and you pick the name, marketplace wise, you can't do but I think anyway. If is a terrible name. All right. So the Family Guy movie thing. There's two Family Guy things. First is that Seth MacFarlane acknowledged in this kind of big panel thing that he's had an idea for a Family Guy movie since 2009. He just needs to figure it out. What I think, honestly, this is my own headcanon, is that he's had this idea and it all has 2009 pop culture references. So there's like a Twilight reference, which you know what? Okay, here's my one thing with Twilight references. Is so whenever I reviewed, I remembered when I rewatched. My kids loved Hotel Transylvania, and when I rewatched it, I remembered like how every YouTube critic had to bring up the one Twilight joke in it, which is like not memorable, just because everyone had to like dunk on Twilight all the time, which is as embarrassing as I'm not really that embarrassed in my early videos, but I'm super glad I never made a Twilight video because that like dates you so much. But every Hotel Transylvania review has a part where they have to bring up like that one part in the plane, and it's like nobody remembers that part, and it's anyway. Sorry, but they should be. Sorry, Twilight references, um, or jokes about Justin Bieber and Lady Gaga and stuff. That's like my own headcanon art for it. As I think it was, I forget who now, but somebody was bringing up how I was gonna have a good Twilight video. Actually, it was gonna be my boss who at the time who had a voice like Carl from Aqua Teen, and him and my other coworker who had a thick New York accent were going to do like a like read out a passage of Bella and Edward telling they love each other so much, and they did it as a rehearsal once, and it was like everyone was on the floor laughing, and oh hey Matt in Box 64, and it would have been great, but they like wouldn't do it the day of, and then like a week later, my boss guy was like, no, now I'll do it, and we're like, yeah, I sort of regret we didn't do that. That would have aged well, I think. Two old Brooklyn guys going like, Bella, I love you. Your skin so sparkly. It was something like that. Anyway, but it is interesting. He's had this idea forever. I think, to be honest with you, I think one of the things about this is that it's good creatively if you have something in your back pocket. And I think like it's like you always have this hit movie and you always have that leverage, and then when it's gone, it's gone. He did also, I think I talked about last week, he said like he never wants to end the show. And I think it's like same with the Simpsons movie, the second Simpsons movie. It's really hard to like stop a production to make these movies. So I don't know what will happen with that. But the other thing he acknowledged was that there's going to be two specials. He was very loose on it because he knows there's going to be two specials just for Hulu. And there's going to be, but he says Halloween and Christmas most likely, but he was kind of non-committal about that. So it could not be those two, but it seems like probably those two. So I don't know if Family Guy's I can't even think of a Family Guy Halloween episode. I'm sure they've done them, but anyway, that's kind of interesting about Family Guy's future, and the idea that there is at least an idea that he has. I'm curious what it is, and I'm sure Disney would give him a big slot for Family Guy because it's such a huge pop culture thing. I'm sure a movie would do very well, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, is it? I can't think of when timeline wise for Family Guy that would be versus the Simpsons movie, because the Simpsons movie feels like it should have come out in the late 90s or something, like when the South Park movie did, or like the South Park movie did the show was very hot at the beginning. So I wonder if Family Guy is going to be, if it hasn't been longer season wise than the Simpsons movie. I'm curious about that. I was thinking one thing about Family Guy is I don't need to look this up. I'm pretty sure it has now more episodes than All in the Family, which is weird since it references it at the beginning. But which is like, how many times has a reference been in something that ends up lasting longer than the thing it's referencing? I don't know. So this is a quick one, but I like fun movie promo stuff. I might need to use the bathroom because I had a bit of coffee. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do two things and then use the bathroom. Sorry, there's so many breaks. But what was I gonna say? So King of the Planet of the Apes had a cool kind of promo thing where they had people dress in ape costumes and with horses and walk around California, like San Francisco and stuff like that. I legitimately like promotion stuff like this. I think the thing is, like, you hear studios have these big promotion machines and advertising executives and all that stuff, and you never see them do anything other than, like, look, we have character posters. And you're like, oh, okay. But this is, like, fun. Like, you see a video, you see people reacting, you see, it's like, I like stuff like this. So whoever did this for Fox or Disney, you deserve credit for that. Okay, I am going to go to the bathroom. I have some cool stuff coming up. I'm sorry. But, wait, now I lost my place. Okay, then we'll talk about Inside Out merch. I will be right back. I'm not going to put up the thing. I'm just going to run. Be right back. Sorry. I'm going to mute, though. I'll be right back. Apologies. Oh, I should speak louder. Well, I hope I feel like I'm pretty loud. I don't know. Well, I apologize, Mika. Well, anyway, I apologize. I thought I'm pretty loud, but I'll try to speak up a little bit. Am I that loud? Let's hear me. Huh. Oh. I don't know. Yeah, it sounds okay. Okay, anyway, I don't know. That's sort of my voice, I think. Anyway, so Inside Out merch. Inside Out 2 merch, I guess there's been some criticism because one of the dolls is just anxiety. And a lot of people are like, can you imagine having a doll that's just the emotion of anxiety? I have for a while known that Pixar will just make merch of fucking everything. Like, they're just like, whatever. Like with Soul, like I went to the Disney store that Christmas and I remember they had a bin, like the Disney store in Times Square, and they had a bin of Jamie Foxx's character in Soul, like not the Soul one, like the human one. And I remember thinking, like, I should buy this because no one will believe me. I don't think I took a picture either, but they were like, it was, it was 2020, so vibe was off, let's say. But it is, I think, it's weird, but that's just how Pixar is. I think Pixar wants to do different stuff, but they almost can't be released from the Disney machine for one movie, which I think is a little lame, to be honest with you. I think it, like, Um, I don't know. I think they can just. I think it's just like this weird thing because they're part of the Disney machine. The Disney machine won't let them go. But I do think there's certain. I'm sure there's certain characters you're like they made a character of that. Like, with the Marvel stuff, it's like those become action figures, of course. But like with Pixar, it's like I don't know if there needs to be merch of Soul. I don't know if there needs to be merch of like. I can't think of another. Well, Inside Out's one, or like Up, or like I don't know, but whatever. All right. So the next thing, this is kind of a weird thing, and I brought up. Oh, have you ever made a zine before? Box 64. I did when I ran my college radio station, but it was more this guy who's now. First off, cheers to you, Box 64. This guy who's now a big indie musician, Mike Kroll, he would make them. I was the manager. I sort of just allowed him to do whatever he wanted because he's a very talented graphic designer. So I would say I was involved, but I would say that's Mike Kroll's project. But I'm happy to have like allowed him to do that for the station I ran at the time. So I would say I was in. I feel like I could take credit saying I was involved in that, but they're good fucking zines. I have them somewhere, and he did a good job with them. I'm still proud of that. Anyway. I did run my college radio station. It's how I met my wife. It's how I was, I guess, cool. It's how I saw Sonic Youth. I did go to school with Mike Kroll. My station, yeah, him. I haven't seen him in forever, but he would know who I am. Okay, anyway. So I want to talk about this, and we talked about this before. I didn't tweet about this because I feel a little... I feel weird spreading things because that has something to do with an actor's mental health, but it is out there, and several major reporters have acknowledged that this is what happened. So it's not, I'm not breaking this, but I feel, anyway. He's in the Steven Universe movie? I didn't know that. I think I did know that. Yeah, I guess I don't know. We were all sort of in the same group, so, yeah, I don't think I introduced them, but we were all sort of in the same social group. Anyway, not that anyone was saying that. Sorry, I didn't want that to be interpreted that way. That's why I said that. But that's cool. Anyway, that he got to be in senior. I'm glad that happened for him. So The Exorcism. This is a movie with Russell Crowe, and so he is an actor in a movie that has exorcisms in it, and the previous actor had a mental breakdown on set. And it's about an exorcism. And he is an actor, and he starts getting haunted because this movie has so many curses and stuff like that. It is a very cool concept, actually. But here's the thing. There was The Exorcist Believer, and the rumors and heavily acknowledged is that Leslie Odom Jr. on the set had like a mental breakdown and had to go on leave for a bit, and apparently the set of The Exorcist Believer was horrible. Despite it had a good ending, not a good script leading to that ending, but a good ending. However, it's interesting that this movie comes out. It's also interesting if you see the trailer, it says from the producer of Halloween. It is not a producer that was on set of the Exorcist movie. I could not find any. So I don't think it is actually directly about that. I think this is just a coincidence. And it's the producer of just Halloween Kills. Kills. But anyway, it is a crazy coincidence that someone like recently, like not the actual Exorcist movie, which had weird curses, and The Omen, which had weird shit going on during its production, but it is a little wild that someone actually did have mental issues on the set of an Exorcist movie that just came out. Like that was October, and even a year later, we're getting this movie. Is just very wild. I wonder, because knowing that one of the producers worked on Halloween Kills, did someone call him and be like, "Hey, I know you're working"? Like he must have known. Like somebody must have known about this. I don't know. That's very interesting, that whole thing. So I just wanted to talk about that. I just want to talk about it here. I really feel uncomfortable. Like I hope he's doing well. It seems like he's kind of wants it quiet. So, but I do find, and Russell Crowe, yes, that was the Pope's Exorcist. So this trailer was actually hard to find because even though it's a new trailer, I don't know why he's in two exorcism movies that prominently in the title have exorcism, but it's called The Exorcism. I'm kind of curious, but there was like concept wise, I'm curious. The trailer looked like whatever. I'm more fascinated by it because of the Leslie Odom Jr. thing that happened on the set of The Exorcist, or The Exorcist Believer. So I found that to be like pretty wild. I was like, but that just happened, and I was talking to a friend about it. I was like, that's just insane. Like that's like that the coincidence of that is just, but I did try to see if there was like a producer, a shared producer, but there is not to what I could find. Anyway, I'm not really going to talk about the Sony Paramount thing because I think I talked about it a little bit before, and it's so highly speculative, and to many people have mentioned that Paramount is just doing it to get their stock price up. So I kind of like look at those as rumors, as most of the movie press is. That's why like you haven't seen big articles in Hollywood Reporter, Variety, Deadline, because they're all acknowledging it as someone inflating their stock price. So that is why that is going on right now, to my understanding. Anyway, this was brought up by Gary, the Long Legs trailer. This is one of the best trailer campaigns I've seen in a bit, and I really like it. Long Legs, I have no clue what this is about, but there's like little snippet trailers, and if you want to see the full trailer, you had to have seen Abigail in theaters, and it's only playing theatrically. And by the way, there are other trailers that that do release theatrically first, but none of them ever get buzz like this. And Long Legs is getting buzz and releasing these trailers. Apparently Nicolas Cage is in it. I have no clue what it's about, but it looks scary as all hell. Like, this is a great trailer campaign. I really got to give it up to them because that's fucking amazing. I really like it. And thank you to Gary for letting me know about this, as well as see the new Failing Upward. I watched it. It's pretty cool. Moving on. Okay, so I don't know if you heard, but the official rating, for Furiosa came out. It's rated R. Now, let's see why it's rated R. I'm sorry, hold on. It's rated R. See, rated. Oh, and it was directed by Anthony Perkins' son. I forgot about that, Gary. Thank you. Sorry, I got sidetracked. Why was Furiosa rated R? Oh, Furiosa is rated R because Mad Max prequel Furiosa has a 15-minute action sequence that took 200 people 78 days to shoot, and it's very important for understanding Anna Taylor-Joy's character. So, of course, it has to be rated R. And that's this official line in the poster. It has all that in the poster, believe it or not. So, yes, Mad Max prequel Furiosa was rated R because of the 15-minute action sequence that took 200 people, stunt people, 78 days to shoot. It's very important for understanding Anna Taylor-Joy's character. Moving on. You know what I like about whatever. Okay. So Jerry Seinfeld has said that movies are over because they're not as big as they used to be, and they're not quotable and all this stuff. And like, thing is, like, I agree to a certain point they are not like the emphasis of culture they used to be, but this is not a new thing. Like this, I've been hearing this since I've been into movies, and like, yes, they're not, because entertainment keeps changing and evolving and differentiating, and so it's just like, I don't know. When people say that, I'm always like, yes, but people still quote stuff, and people still quote like Seinfeld, and people still quote, B-movie. Like, let's say, according to all known laws of aviation, there is no way a bee should be able to fly. Its wings are too small to get around its fat little body off the ground. The bee, of course, flies anyway, because bees don't care what humans think is impossible. Barry Benson, yellow, black, yellow, black, yellow, black, yellow, black. Oh, black and yellow. Let's shake up a little. Janet Benson, breakfast is ready. Barry coming. Hang on a second. Barry uses an antenna like a phone. Hello? Adam Flayman. Barry? Adam? Barry said that. Adam, can you believe this is happening? Anyway, what I'm saying is he's wrong. You know what? I had these two back to back. I didn't realize that was probably annoying. I apologize. But I think I get what he's saying, but it's just like another one of those like worst ways to promote a movie things, close to the Alex Garland thing. And I, I I don't know. It's like I get it, but at a certain point, it's like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know. It's also like you made B movie, and then you made the Frosted. Like shut the fuck up. Like it's like what are you doing? Anyway, so we did on more serious movie news. We did get find out more about what happened to Quentin Tarantino's The Movie Critic this past week in a great article from the Hollywood Reporter. Well written at least, and had a really cool picture. It seems like if you look at this, and a lot of people who've read through it as the days have gone on, and notice like several sources have several different versions of the actual movie, and it doesn't seem like anybody knows what the fuck is going on. Um, we hear like Tom Cruise could have been involved. He might have had a cameo. We've heard it. We could have gotten a Tarantino verse thing where everybody comes back and like acknowledges their characters. We heard it was about the film critic that was in the porno mag that Tarantino. That was the real basis that he was going to do. There's some connection to Olivia Wilde. Could have played Pauline Kael, which is really not good casting. I actually do have an idea for Pauline Kael's casting, but it would not go over well. But with anyone, but I think actually I have two. It used to be Lena Dunham, but I think she's like not acting anymore, and maybe I don't know if she has the range, but I actually think Adie Bryant could do Pauline Kael the best, to be perfectly honest. Like, but anyway, supposedly there was going to be a Kael-like character, and maybe Olivia Wilde would have played her. Tom Cruise keep being involved. Paul Walter Hauser kept being considered, but he said on Instagram he didn't even like he never actually met with Tarantino, like he never went anywhere. But I think it's thing is like it does seem like this was very close, and it does seem like him and Sony are going to work together, even though nothing was official. It just sounds like this movie wasn't far enough along. And the one thing that is odd about this whole thing is that this is getting into more minutia of movie stuff, but apparently California gave Quentin Tarantino a tax credit, a $20 million tax credit to film his film in LA. And supposedly what they were planning on doing, because the movie critic wasn't ready and because of Brad Pitt's availability, because he was going to be in it, he was going to, they weren't really going to be able to shoot till next year. But because they have to shoot something in 2024 to keep the tax credit, they were actually going to shoot something in February. And the rumor was with Paul Walter Hauser, who didn't even actually get cast or meet with anybody or anything really happened with. So supposedly the California, according to like I saw today, the California legislature that let him have that $20 million, they have not canceled the $20 million deal yet. So supposedly they would have done that. There is still in place the idea that Tarantino could make a movie and would get these $20 million like tax credit thing. So the fact that that hasn't been canceled, but everything else has made people think maybe this isn't as done as people thought it is, which is interesting that like everything got pulled out but that, and people are kind of wondering like, could this be a Hateful Eight thing? Could he just like, a lot of people said he should just say Kill Bill 1 and 2 were two separate movies, which is already who is Pauline Kael? I get it, haha. We're not sure. I kind of agree with like he should just if he's really like I don't know what to do, just call it a day. I sort of think his luster of making different kinds of films, because it feels like post Inglourious Bastards structurally, like as much as I like those movies, it feels like Inglourious Bastards, Django, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood are all like of the same kind of thing. Like it's all like revisionist history, where they kill the person who didn't actually get killed the way I think we would have all liked it to be. Like, I think my mom even said, I think a lot of people, it's okay, don't worry. Austin, I can't spell it. That wasn't a joke. Pauline Kael is a film critic. If you look in the Deep Focus stuff, made a video of her talking about criticism. She's a very important film critic. But I do think it, I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I do think he's going to possibly sit on this forever. But the tax credit thing not being canceled, a reporter said it yesterday that it still hadn't. Makes me think that there's the possibility the movie critic still happens in a different form, and he's rewriting it. And until that gets canceled, I hold out some hope, because that's somewhat of an official thing, and I don't like to say that with Tarantino movies because he changes his mind so much. I also think maybe he should just say, I don't know if this is the last one, but it'll probably be the last one for a bit. I don't get why people can't just say that. It'd be fine. But anyway. So we got the cast for 28 years later. The new trilogy, at least. This is at least the first one, directed by Danny Boyle and written by Alex Garland. We have Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Ralph Fiennes. Jodie Comer, who was very close to playing Furiosa, which is interesting because I heard in Furiosa it's going to be pretty cool. But I do like how they're building this, because they have the next director for 2 already creatively involved. They're sort of trying to figure this out. And I am surprised Cillian Murphy, who there was, who we kept hearing was probably involved in this, hasn't been announced yet. And it seems like if there was any franchise, and since he just won a Best Actor Oscar, that was perfect for him to get the bag or whatever, I think this would be the time. So I'm a little surprised like they announced 3 other people and not him. I would actually like to see 28 Weeks Later, because almost everyone I talked to was like, does anybody seen that? Like, no one seemed to have seen that. So I when this comes out, I wouldn't mind seeing the other 2. But we'll see. But yeah. All right. So I don't know. Seems like a cool cast. Seems like an interesting thing they're building right there. All right. So the actors of the original Blair Witch, as we heard about, there's a new Blair Witch in development. They're trying to make a 4th Blair Witch movie. And they're trying to make it more of a franchise, which no one has succeeded in doing. Although I think the 3rd one didn't on it, probably the best follow-up idea, which was doing another found footage thing, but it didn't work out. But they're asking for residual payments for the film, which they never got, which is a shame. 2 was consultation on future projects where their names and likenesses are used, which is, I think, the other 2 sequels. And a $60,000 annual grant to an aspiring filmmaker to aid in making their first feature film. The only one I can see being an issue is the $60,000 thing. But I sort of agree that they should, because, and I want to explain, I did explain this on Twitter, so if you follow me, I apologize for reiterating myself, and I think I've said it other places before. But here's the deal with the Blair Witch Project, the original Blair Witch Project. They were by themselves, they were given notes by the directors, and the directors would come and hang out sometimes during the day. But for the most part, they were the crew, they held the equipment, and they were the actors. On set was basically those 3 with the camera stuff, and they would improv, and like that's it. And so I don't know, I sort of think they have a really good case that they should get residuals from this, because are you fucking kidding me? They did all of it. And here's the other thing. Do you know what made the Blair Witch cost as much as it did? Was because they had to like track their actors. They had to know where they were, so they could like be the Blair Witch and like bang on the tent and like make stuff and scare them and stuff. They had to buy a GPS, which in 1996 or 7 when they shot it, was a lot of money. So actually, if you wanted to make Blair Witch now, it would cost less than it did then, just because GPSs were not on everyone's phone. They were a really expensive like military thing. So that's actually the funny trivia behind the Blair Witch Project. I should probably make it short about that, but it's kind of funny. Like, that is what made like the Blair Witch cost so much. But I agree they should get payments. I think they should get consulted if their likenesses are used, because again, they're pretty much, I think, they didn't edit it and they didn't market it, but they were majorly involved in its creation since it was all improv. I just think it's pretty fucking ridiculous if you're not going to give them money. I think they should get the residuals. I think the consultation thing, I can't imagine a lot of studios would be cool with that. But I also think because of, the lawsuit and the precedent Crispin Glover did, I think they should get residual payments for the other films as well, actually. Because I don't know 2, but I'm fairly certain it's been, I don't think about 3 ever. I'm fairly certain they're brought up in images of, at least Heather is brought up in 3. And I think they should be paid if footage of their film is shown in the other thing. I'm fairly certain you do get paid for that. So I think they should let them do that. Okay, maybe I'll do it around the time of Halloween or something, or I'll just shoot it and we'll see. Thank you, Cornbread, for the encouragement. But I do think, it's about time, and I agree with what they're doing. The only one I cannot see a studio doing is the $60,000 thing. But if it's I don't know. I do think the problem with what Halloween did with those movies being as huge as they are is every horror franchise is like, well, we'll open to $70 million. And I'm like, I mean, let's calm it down. That's not how it works all the time, guys. That's the only one I honestly don't see them doing because the cost of it is a bit high. But the other things I'm totally for. And I'm for that. I'm just, I understand how, at least, I don't know. I think you could do that, and I think it would be cool. It would be cooler if there's a Blair Witch grant. Maybe the solution would be there's a $60,000 Blair Witch grant, but Blumhouse has to release that movie. So Blumhouse sets this thing up. It's for first-time filmmakers, and then they always have a $60,000 streaming movie, or at least part of the budget is paid for. Anyway, you could do that too. Actually, you know what? I talked myself into it. Forget it. Also, we found Andy Merrill, who is like a treasure trove of a Twitter account, posted Joel Hodgson's experimental Space Ghost opening, which is very much like a Mystery Science Theater type of thing, because Joel Hodgson was more involved in the beginning of the development of Coast to Coast. It's really cool. I check it out. I think I retweeted it, as well as the Cartoon Network thing posted a thing of Space Ghost on the now defunct Donnie Marie talk show, which was cool. So there's all sorts of neat Space Ghost stuff coming out. It's kind of an awesome time to be a Space Ghost fan. Also, there was the Robot Dreams trailer. I'm going to be honest, I thought it was that the robot owned the dog. I didn't know it was the dog that owned the robot, so that was shocking to me. I saw that it might play at Film Forum, and I kind of want to see it at Film Forum because I haven't been there in a while. But looked cool. I'm excited to see it, I believe, towards the end of May. We also got that there's going to be a film called The Imaginary from Studio Ponoc, who is the kind of people who made Mary and the Witch's Flower and left Studio Ghibli. Will be on Netflix July 5th, which is a few days after Beverly Hills Cop 4. I think July 5th, I was at first like, oh, that sucks because it's the day after July 4th, but the beginning of July 4th is in the middle of the week. So usually what studios do is they try to release things all around that week because there is more free time and more people are seeing movies and stuff. So it's actually a good release date despite that. Yeah, I think I am the only person who thought that about the whatever. It's yeah. All right. So this is less fun, but I want to acknowledge it. I think if Legal Eagle or one of those legal YouTube people makes a video about this, I'm a little curious how this was allowed to happen. But the Harvey Weinstein case in New York was overturned because they used other people he had harassed and used them to set precedent in how he has done this. The good thing, well, there isn't a good thing about this, but he is still in jail for 16 years for a different case. So a lot of people are saying once, now that Harvey's out, it doesn't seem like that's as likely. There's a possibility of that fully because of this case, but not right now. And he's not like walking out this weekend or something. But it's sad because he was like kind of the biggest part of the Me Too scandal, and obviously should go to jail. I We'll see what happens. I think it was an appeals court. It could go all the way up to the Supreme Court, so it doesn't sound like he's going to be you know out anytime soon. Apparently, he has to go to Rikers, which if you read anything about Rikers, I, I don't think he won in any imaginable way. Rikers sounds pretty horrible. So I don't know what's going to fully happen, but he's not. I've seen a lot of people say he's out or something like that. He is not. He's still going to be incarcerated. He might be moving jails a few times, but that's as out as he is right now. He was tried for 2 different cases and is still in jail for about 16 years. I would suspect that he's most likely still at this time going to die in prison. So please remember that when people talk about it, because I think people are forgetting that. In possibly the worst transition of all time, the Bluey special did really well on Disney Plus. Got about 10 million viewers. I'm not really surprised on the day. It was a pretty huge special for families and stuff. We all got up and watched it that morning. We watched the following Sunday, which was sort of announced. I'm kind of curious if there's going to be one this Sunday at this point. I'm not surprised because Bluey is such a phenomenon. What I think will be the bigger thing is if whenever it comes back, because at this time we don't know when it's coming back. But what is really fascinating about Bluey and the success of Bluey is, as much as everyone thought, and even the Watcher people thought, you can launch a streaming service with their own original content and use that Netflix. I think I talked about it so long ago. It's like you talk about how Netflix makes this amount of money and they spent this amount on licensing. And if you took out the licensing thing, this is how much you'd make. And it's like, yes, in theory, that would work. But Disney Plus's biggest hit is Bluey, which they license. So it's like I love that everyone's like, what if we didn't pay for licensing? I'm like, yeah, that's great. Name me a streaming service that they all pretty much have hits that they license out, including Disney Plus, including Prime, including Netflix, maybe not Paramount Plus. Maybe, I don't know about Peacock, but that lost like $600 million in just this year alone so far. So to me, it's like, it is funny that everyone acted like this like magic math of like, we won't have to license anything. And Disney Plus is over here like breaking ratings records with the licensed show. Just funny. All right. Okay. I want to drink some water. Okay. Well, I saw Foghorn Leghorn was going on trending on the Twitters, and now calm down, everybody in the chat, because I don't understand how people could just have Foghorn Leghorn be talking on some of those animes. They used to call it Japanimation back in the day, but now it's called the animes, and he's just talking to various characters now. Now slow down, son. We got to be careful with the animes there, and we gotta watch out. I said, but I think it's pretty funny that someone came up with the thing for Foghorn Leghorn to be talking about the animes, and then it got trending. It's perfect for the Coyote versus the Acme, which I don't think I've seen, but I hear. I said it's pretty good. I don't think it's the best impression, and I'm sort of losing it because I haven't done it this long without talking, but I'm telling you, first off, Canada, you gotta not blow up to this weird baby flesh thing. It's blowing up all that. You're getting too steamed up. Kanea Tetsuo, I understand he has a nice bike. I like bikes. I rode a bike a long time ago, but that don't mean I said. I think this was funnier in my head than it actually is now, but it's pretty cool for Foghorn Leghorn to be trending. I thought I could do this longer, but I realized doing a sentence is different than doing this long. I was going to be like, if the glove don't fit, you must have quit. I said, all right. I think that was enough. That was not as funny as a Mad Max bit, But if I was going to do a Mad Max bit, I would I said, Mad Max prequel Furiosa has 15-minute action sequence that took 200 stunt people 78 days to shoot. And it's very important for understanding Anna Taylor-Joy's character of Furiosa. Anyway, I hope that was sorry. I was like, I don't know if that was. I already was embarrassed. All right, let's moving on. 9 to 5. There's there's possibility of a remake from produced by Jennifer Aniston, not necessarily starring. That was not announced. Sorry, I need water after that. And written by Diablo Cody. I'm surprised during the height of Me Too and all that stuff. Sorry, I just remembered something of the Beverly Hills Cop thing. I'm surprised that this wasn't tried to be pitched earlier. Supposedly, the biggest attempt before this was a Will Smith producing with Jada, starring with 3 black women as 9 to 5, or presumably it never happened, so it doesn't much matter. But supposedly this is really going forward. What is interesting though is that this is a real fact about the movie 9 to 5. One of the reasons it blew up is because the studios wanted to. Now I want to just keep going like I said. I actually watched some Foghorn Leghorn cartoons to get the voice down, so that's why I noticed he always goes I said. Anyway, so when 9 to 5 came out in theaters, they actually in the early 80s they wanted to push VHS, so they put 9 to 5 on video while it was in theaters. It actually did well both at the same time to help push the new market of VHS, which is an interesting fact I didn't know. Anyway, that 9 to 5 is an okay movie. I don't like it as much as everyone else does. I saw it more recently. I did watch it when my babysitters watched it when I was a little kid, and I did not get what the deal was with it, and it was confusing. And I was like, why are they being so mean to this guy? And because I love Dabney Coleman. Anyway, it was. That's my memory of 9 to 5 before rewatching it in I think 2018, 2017 was watching it as a kid, and I was notably not getting it. Okay. So we have I should hurry up. Where are we on this? Okay. We're doing all right. So, there's going to be, supposedly there's a Space Mountain movie in the works. There's not really, I'm sorry to hear that, Raph. I hope everything works out past then. So Space Mountain, well, go, have a good night, Raph. Thank you for being here. There's supposedly a Space Mountain movie in development. The problem with that, is the writers are not necessarily great writers. They're the writers of the Cowboy Bebop remake and stuff like that. And I don't know, a couple people have brought up that, and they also worked on Citadel, so they're really good. And they wrote King Arthur Legend of the Sword. Why are they even making this? Jesus. I don't know, a couple of people brought up that there isn't really much iconography in that ride. I've never been to a Disney park, so I don't know. I think it's just supposedly Disney, the big plan that everyone theorizes is they want to tie every ride into an IP. So just, IP going throughout, and it's if you're not tied in, they need to make a movie or something. I think you could make a cool space exploration movie, particularly with 3D and RPX and all that cool stuff. You really could, but you have to really push it for that to happen. So, The Wild Robot has moved back 1 week to September 28th. I think this sort of doesn't fix the problem because Transformers is still coming out the week before and will probably still be in theaters, I'd assume, by then. So I don't think this makes it any better, but they did move it back, so good for them. Venom 3, The Last Dance, has moved up to from November 8th to October 25th because they feel like it would get overshadowed by the election, or they're Joe Biden and Trump are afraid that Venom 3 would overshadow the election and everyone would just forget to vote and they'll have to flip a coin or something. That's what I think is probably going to happen. We got some things for Zack Snyder's Twilight of the Gods, which looked okay. And then finally, no, I have two things, sorry. Before that, the Let It Be, the documentary, is getting re-released on Disney Plus. What I didn't know, and this is not coming off as like I've seen it, look how obscure I am, is that it came out in the early 80s on VHS and then like never again on anything. And apparently they kept trying to get it on DVD and it never happened. And now they're actually going to put it on streaming because some of the Beatles don't love that movie. What is interesting is I've talked to a few people who have seen it and were able to rent it at Blockbuster. Like I had seen it in the 90s. And I knew a few people who saw it in the 90s. And where I grew up, everyone just rented it from Blockbuster or the Video Center where I went and places like that. So it's kind of, I'm curious, like, one of the things about the VHS thing is that since places would buy so many movies, there were certain movies that, like, didn't really go out of distribution despite the fact that they weren't reissuing them for like 10, 20 years. And that doesn't really happen anymore. So it's this kind of like weird gray area where certain movies would be available, but like it's because these places had these large collections. And I heard that about Eraserhead as well. And so I don't know, it's one thing like certain movies of classic Hollywood movies would play like once on TBS in the 80s and never get a VHS release. And then they're pretty much like gone until some of them got released on DVD. This is like a weird case where it was on DVD, on VHS, but most people could see it because it was just still at Blockbuster and still at Video Center and stuff like that. So I actually think it's been more available since those places started getting rid of VHS than it was from 80 till then. So it's kind of an interesting thing. But if you ever wanted to see the actual Let It Be doc, it'll be re-released on Disney Plus within the year, I believe. And then finally, and half joking, I know everybody's going to go, no, Jim, please. I actually find this interesting that Furiosa was apparently originally developed as an anime spin-off, and they had the script written 15 years ago, actually. And it was, they were considering getting Mahiro Maeda, he's an animator who did everything from Neon Genesis Evangelion and worked for Studio Ghibli and actually had a short film in the Animatrix. And I know for a while George Miller was considering doing a Fury Road as an animated film, much like Happy Feet. And supposedly for a while they were considering doing that for Furiosa and actually had a director picked out and had this all written and figured out. So my one concern, and for real, with Furiosa, following up Fury Road, is Fury Road had been developed and storyboarded so long in advance that they were able to build all this stuff up. And now I kind of am like okay with Furiosa because I was sort of worried. I was like, I don't want to, even though I love George Miller, I don't want to follow up. Like, how can you follow up Fury Road? And this kind of changes my mind. I mean, I think the other one was a live action cartoon cinema, but yes, I guess you're right. But I think like, I don't know. I think that's a crazy, insane fact. Games Radar is really covering the Mad Max thing really well. They're just covering it, having all these cool facts. Like last week when we found out that Mad Max prequel Furiosa has a 15-minute action sequence that's like 200 some people, 78 days to shoot, and it's very important for understanding Anna Taylor-Joy's character, particularly that she learned that that Anna Taylor-Joy, who still doesn't have a driver's license, despite learning to do a J-turn on her first day of Sun School. So I guess it's good it's not animated, but that would have been cool. I think that, I don't know. I thought that was a cool story. I don't know if I'll do this meme every week, but I had two stories, so do that. And finally, before we take a break, I want to talk about one guy who passed away this week. Larry Larry from The Simpsons, one of the barflies in the back who has said so little on the 30 however many seasons of The Simpsons there are that someone made a best of a compilation of everything he ever said, and it was 2 minutes long, passed away on The Simpsons on Sunday. I think this is probably one of the most interesting deep lore things The Simpsons has done in a little bit. Apparently, it was like Larry and Steve or something, or Scott. He had a friend with him who did not appear in the episode. Supposedly, that was the most controversial part of the episode to Simpsons fan, is they did not have his buddy in the episode, which I find odd. It's like you're going to acknowledge this thing but not show the other guy who's there. I'm wondering if they're going to kill him off or what the deal is with that guy. I did not watch the episode of all, in all honesty, but it is interesting that a character who, like, I didn't know the guy's fucking name, but as soon as I saw the picture, I knew who he was. I think we all know who that guy is. So it's bizarre to me that they would do this, but I think it's kind of one of the more interesting things. Supposedly there have been Sam. So Larry and Sam should have been in this. I just I hope that I don't know. I've seen a couple of places say that, like, this season's Simpsons, they're sort of recontextualizing things and stuff. I don't know if they're doing that amazingly well, because even the episode I reviewed for the Primal one wasn't a great episode, and I heard a summary of this on Simpsons Theory, and it didn't. I was like, I kind of much rather watch her tell me it than watch that fucking watch that shit episode. So I don't know, but I do think it's like a cool thing to do. But I think Sam, what's going on with Sam? I think that was I actually agree with a lot of the fans who are like, that was a big issue, and like, I agree. Like, you're gonna do this whole Larry thing, and there's a guy next to him. What's Sam doing? Like, what's the deal with that? So, kudos to the Simpsons for shaking something up. They probably had to. I'm wondering who pitched that, like whose idea that was. Anyway, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to take a break again. Sorry, I do need to use the bathroom. Then, apparently Barney had a cutaway in it or something. Sorry. Then we're going to do the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog pilot. And then we're going to do questions, and then we're going to wrap it all up. So thank you all for being here. I still have some watermelon left. And I will be right back. I'll be right back. Oh, wait. I got to set this up right. I'm not doing it right. I got to do Ace's thing. Oh, my God. What is wrong with me? Okay. I was almost going to leave because the last time. All right. I'll be right back. Enjoy the, wait. Jeez. Where are we? What? Okay. All right. I will be right back. Enjoy this image. I'll be right back thing from Ace the Wind Rider. Check out his links in the description, and then we will finish up the show in a little bit when I return. Okay, cool. See you in a sec. Okay. Yeah, I'm back. All right. By the way, Ace the Wind Rider doing did an awesome job with this. I really gotta say, seriously, follow him on all this stuff. Thank you again, Ace. It's really I always appreciate it. But seriously, links in the description. What are we gonna do? Okay. So we have. I guess we have a little more time than I realized. I guess I didn't talk about the Gabby's Dollhouse thing. That there's going to be a movie of Gabby's Dollhouse. I do. My kids actually like that show, and they're going to be excited for that. I didn't realize how big it was according to the thing, but and it seems like DreamWorks will want to utilize that, and I think my kids would love to see it. And I don't know. The other thing is like, for a kid, a year is a bigger thing, so it could be. I don't know. It could. We'll see how into it they are when it comes out. But it is interesting. I didn't realize how big of a hit it was. It's a big hit here. It's a good show. I knew a guy who is a producer on it or something. Well, it's a beard of a different color syndrome. All right. So, because there is a new Sonic show coming out with the Knuckles show on Paramount Plus, I wanted to talk about the beginning of Sonic on TV, which I believe, was Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. And with acknowledging that, one second. In acknowledging that, oh, Dana Brigham, you had a quick shower. In acknowledging that, okay, that Adventure Sonic was the first episode, or was the first Sonic show. However, there was a pilot, which I had never seen before because it did not air. It was a pilot made to sell the Sonic the Hedgehog show, The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. And it's interesting. Actually, the link I posted on Twitter and the one I'll be using in this video later, and the video that's in the description below, was the way it was released to the world on YouTube. That's on the Wikipedia when it was released in like March 2009. The weird thing about this is, I think when you think of the Sonic show, you think of the animation, how cartoony it is, and the sound effects and the music and things like that. And you really notice it when you watch this, because it doesn't have a lot of that, and it's very quiet, and it just feels very weird. But you definitely get that they made a Sonic cartoon. Now, but I think if you like this Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, you would like this a lot. It's an interesting kind of new material of Adventure Sonic Hedgehog you haven't seen before, but as well as like seeing how they would pitch something like that. They didn't just go, it's a Sonic cartoon. They're like, okay, cool. They actually had a proof of concept thing, and it doesn't really stay in one thing. It's very much a show reel, like when I did Yuki-san earlier. I think it's basically a proof of concept thing. I have heard from some places like there was music when they showed it to people, but no one seems to be able to find that. But it seems odd to me that they'd have a VHS. Like, what was this for? I think it is a pretty good. I don't know. I think I mean, it seems odd to me, the copy that has been released. Like, I feel like maybe somebody saw it, but irregardless, it is a fairly good pilot because it shows the show fairly well. I imagine if it did have music and maybe someone can insert music and some of the dialogue seemed off and stuff, like a complete one, it would have showed off how cool the show is. Now, I think should bring up, I have a certain nostalgia for the show. Or, well, no, sorry. But when you watch it without the music, it becomes more evident because I did watch a little bit of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog to kind of counter, to fully understand like what I was missing. And what the weird thing is that it's hard to find what even the first episode of Sonic is, because Tubi has it in a weird order, YouTube had it in an odd order. So just watching random stuff. So I don't know whose idea that was to put it out. Not that it matters for that show, I don't think, but I wish it was in the right order at least. However, so I watched this show when it was on at 6:30 in the morning. It got me and my brother to convince my mom to make us chili dogs. He doesn't remember that, which I think is not cool of him, but I do. He was a little kid, so maybe he doesn't. But it was 6:30 in Maryland. Ian Jones-Cordy, who worked on OKKO, I know this was an influence on him. He's acknowledged it as an influence, I think, on Pizza Party and other places, and also woke up at 6:30 in the morning to watch it because he was living in Maryland at the time. So it's kind of interesting that one of the reasons I picked this is because I knew it was an influence on him, and when we worked on Knockforce together and stuff. But I've also sort of looked at it as an interesting timeline because a lot of the animator influences of this show came from the Mighty Mouse: The New Adventures, the one Ralph Bakshi's Mighty Mouse, and sort of came to this. And it's sort of like an interesting through line for that show is like the precursor to auteurism in television animation. Like that was sold as Ralph Bakshi's Mighty Mouse. Like that's what I mean by auteurism in that sense. Like when John Kay did it later and other people, you knew who the creator was. It was very much sold that it's this creator's thing. So I do find The Adventures of Sonic an interesting show because it shows that influence of the Ralph Bakshi Mighty Mouse, and apparently a lot of animators worked on both. So it is kind of like this interesting like piece of 80s, 90s, beginning of the rise of animation history because it clearly picked the right kind of attitude. And it's like it didn't pick the John Kay thing, it didn't pick the Nicktoon thing, it picked the guy who started all of that. And I think that's kind of interesting. You can see the looseness of Ralph Bakshi's sort of like 80s, 90s television animation work in this, and I think it works really well. I think it's honestly probably a better show to watch multiple episodes than The Mighty Mouse and the New Adventures, if we're being honest here. The one thing that's interesting about this, so it has a Sonic Says, which are basically Sonic's like thing where it's like, don't do drugs, don't put a needle in your eye, don't put your finger in sockets, don't drink alcohol, or maybe like, beer before liquor, never sick, or liquor before beer, in the clear. I'm sure that's what it was. But in this one, they have one that look both ways before you cross the street, which is good advice. However, when I looked through the episode guide, there was never a Sonic Adventures of Sonic Hedgehog where he told you to look both ways before you cross the street that made it to air. Meaning 100% that there's some kid who watched Adventures of Sonic and never learned that and clearly was killed because they never put this on air. So what I'm saying is there's an alternate universe where this did air and that kid's still alive and probably saved the universe. I'm really saying is without this airing, with this not airing, the world has changed forever. Probably, maybe not. I don't know. That's my own personal theory. Whatever. If you like Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, I highly recommend this pilot. If just because you get to see more content, see how they sold it, and see what you can. It's interesting that it was leaked on YouTube in 2009. I don't think you even heard that at the time. But this is a cool little pilot. It's fun to think of them like trying to get it on air with Jaleel White's voice for 1993. And I don't know. It takes me back to that time of remembering how cool chili dogs were and being into Sonic and all that stuff. But it's also cool to think of like how they sold this to people and how people were probably like, oh yeah, this seems like a show that should air at 6:30 in the morning. All right, I hope that was good. That was a little of a loose one because it's not the longest thing in the world. All right, so let's do. I'm gonna write. What? Same year as the Family Guy movie. Nice, Austin. Questions. Did he tell people not to climb into washers and dryers? That was such a big thing when I was a kid, so I really regret not climbing in an empty refrigerator. All right, questions below. My big kid regret. No, that gave me such anxiety because they had it on so many cartoons. I was like, oh my God, I'm definitely going to do that. All right, so first Patreon question, the one that you've all been waiting for, but all Saul. Jordan Bouchard asks, what are your past personal experiences with casinos or gambling? Wow, I really didn't read this. What do you play? Have you hit it big? Unless it's too personal. I mainly do like scratch offs. Sometimes I haven't done one in a while. The one thing, I went to a casino in New Orleans and I made back everything I spent. And then I was like, it's time to go home. So that was kind of, that's usually my gambling thing, is like I'll buy a scratch off ticket once a week for a little bit. I'll buy a lottery ticket for a little bit, and then I'll stop. And I never win that much. I think I won $20. Uh, things like that. But I don't know. I never got as into it. I'm always like, oh, I could go to the casino, but I never get to do that. So, I guess that's my story. Is I usually just make even or make a little less, and it never becomes too much. So sorry. That's as much as it is, Jordan. Apologies if that's not the greatest answer. Nathaniel Fogo, what's an adult cartoon you would have liked to get a big screen movie adaptation? Okay. An adult cartoon. Either Space Ghost. I would have liked Metalocalypse because it's so like visual. I would have liked to have seen that on the big screen. Same with Venture Brothers. I would have, even though they got movies, it would have been fun to actually see those on the big screen. Maybe Space Ghost. I guess Cowboy Bebop did, but I didn't watch it on the big screen. I would say those. I would say Metalocalypse. I think Venture Brothers would be the best too. And Austin. We always got to end with Austin. Austin, hey Jim, what a great show. Hey Jim, what a great show. It took less time than Furiosa has a 15-minute action scene that took us 78 days to shoot and required nearly 200 stunt workers, and George Miller said it was very important to her character. My question for you is, if you were on an episode of Space Ghost Coast to Coast as an interview question, what would you talk about? What kind of questions would Space Ghost or Rick and Malta have for you? I'm sure it would be about movies or something, or cartoon. I would just want to ask space questions. I would be like, is space that lonely? Like, can no one really hear you scream? I feel like these are, I don't know. I would feel really intimidated because I'd want to be really funny, and I don't know how I would do. Yeah, it would be really hard to. Man, that is a tough one. I would just want them to do the Jam episode. That's like my favorite one. So I actually don't know what a J turn is. I just know. Okay. Okay. Now you know what? When I make the Furious review, everyone's gonna just post a copy pasta of this thing, aren't they? It's just hit me. I've created it. People are going to be like, what happened to your comments? And Furiosa has a 15-minute action scene. And the reviews are going to be like, she has a 15-minute. And I'll be freaking out. Anyway. Not plausible. Super Mario taught me not to do drugs because I'd go to hell before I die. Some of the anti-drug things are just like, whoa, dude. From people who are obviously high on cocaine too. All right, I'm not saying he was, but you don't put rubber bands on your face if you're sober. Austin, if you worked at a radio station, what was your DJ name? I didn't really do as much DJing when I was the station manager. I did like a final show, which I don't know what happened to that CD, but yeah, we just go on. Sometimes they do a Q&A thing. It was just Jim. Sorry. That's not the favorite thing to say. Cideram, favorite David Lynch film? To be honest, it's Eraserhead. Yeah, I'm more of an Eraserhead guy. And first season, Twin Peaks. Nattenbach 64. What was the first ever foreign language film you ever saw? I actually think I know I saw Red Balloon when I was little, and I think that might be it. After that, it might be either my dad showed me stuff like 8.5 or 400 Blows or Discreet Charm of the Bourgeoisie. But the first one I saw in theaters was Ghost in the Shell. So it was either Red Balloon or Ghost in the Shell. With Scarlett Johansson, of course. No, the original, I saw that in theaters. Sci-Fi Channel was playing a lot of ads that I saw that Charles was playing it. And that's also how I found out Mystery Science Theater movie was going to play there. It was, man, cool day. And I was like the first time I got to go to an art theater too. So, Cornbread question: with all those Disney Channel animated show pilots leaking, like the very important House, which we previously covered. What some other animated pilots do you hope see the light of day? Um, hmm, um, it's a good question. Well, the second Space Ghost one after last week. Um, I'd have to think of like what isn't available. I think the crappier versions of the first two X-Men should get released. Um, you know what I would like to see? Pilots that didn't go that we haven't seen. I would like to see more of that. Super Dusky. So is Post Malone's movie about semi trucks from heaven going to medieval Europe real? What? I don't. Is it? I don't know how to react to that. Isn't he's the one who does the song with Taylor Swift? Is that Post Malone? Because we were listening to that. Hold on, now I gotta. Is that Mr. Malone? Yes, Post Malone. I mean, that sounds like a crazy thing he would do. So I'm gonna say yes, without looking it up at all or knowing what it is. Hold on. Question from Ramsey the Artist. I watched Flash Gordon recently, and it got me thinking. In your opinion, what's a movie where the soundtrack was better than the movie itself? Definitely that. Man, I think there's probably a few I can't think of. Probably Crow City of Angels. Probably. I don't want to say the SpongeBob movie, but I do like that soundtrack more than I should, probably. What was the Spawn soundtrack? I think is at least more interesting than the Spawn movie, probably. Not plausible. What's the city or part of the country you'd really like to visit one day? I've never been. The farthest west I've been is Texas. I'd like to actually go to California. I've never been, despite not forced representation over there. I've never been there. Ace the Wind Rider. What fictional shoes would you want to own? I mean, either the Flubber shoes, but my mind immediately goes to Marty McFly's shoes in Back to the Future 2. Cornbread question on my mind because of the fun fact I said about Robotnik in the Sonic pilot. Which version of both Sonic and Robotnik Eggman is your favorite voice wise? Robotnik, Jim Cummings, Sonic, Julia White are kind of the two. Those are just the two I grew up with, so that's. Although I like Ben Schwartz in the movie, but still to me, I don't know. Still Jaleel to me. Why doesn't Julia White just have a character in the new movie? That should happen. Al Vasquez, since the director of Inside Out 2 said shame and guilt were cut from Inside Out 2, some people on Twitter want them back in to give Pixar edge again. Thoughts on this? I think if someone, I don't know. I think if you cut something, you shouldn't talk about it till like after the movie's out. Is like, by the way, people used to be press trained, and that has like really gone out the window recently. I'm like, what's going on? I think if like they don't think they should work, Pixar is usually pretty good with story. I would just trust that they are. I don't think they should be. I mean, I get the shame and the guilt thing, but it's like at certain points, like this is a movie that's like weird that it's a family thing, and it's like dealing with a teenage girl's emotional well-being is like a very odd idea for a blockbuster. Not plausible. Why does Adult Swim put out some of the best shows, yet it's constantly led by some of the worst people? I don't know. I wish that. Yeah, I think it's like hearing. Thing is like, okay, I did almost want to talk about this, and I talk about this with anyone who's creative. It make stuff basically. Is it sucks hearing people you looked up to are treated like crap. It sucked hearing about Carrie Means, I think, voice of Frylock. It sucks hearing about Annie Merrill. It sucks hearing about how Jonah Ray is a bartender. And it hurts me. It hits me more now than it used to. But unfortunately, that's just the nature of the business. That's like why I'm asking for, live streams and Patreon stuff. You try to get it to work. And I think there's the fantasy of, you're George Lucas and you're still making the most out of anybody all these years later or something. But I think the thing is, like, you can't ever give it up. So it's like this thing like you're always gonna get fucked to a degree, unfortunately, but you still want to make stuff. But I do think people should be paid more. I think people should get the acknowledgement. But it's like the arts is unfortunately a very hard, punishing field, and I wish it was easier for all of us, but that's just the way it is, and a lot of the people who are the gatekeepers make it harder and harder. I think it's easier and easier to get stuff out, but they've always done that, and I don't know why, because I think if you are doing that, it's hard to respect you as a human being. Best J-turn in film history. I don't know what a J-turn is, but I'm sure one happened in Vanishing Point, so I'll say that. Because Vanishing Point's a lot of driving. Nathaniel Fogel, which dead Simpsons character do you miss the most? Who is the psychiatrist? I guess that one from the early days. Panavision, hello. Who do you think would be the best fit to adapt a Tarantino script today, excluding Robert Rodriguez? Well, there goes my fucking answer. Actually, Ryan Johnson would probably do a good job. I can't think of someone who would be better than Ryan Johnson. You know what? I would say Ryan Johnson first choice. I don't think Shane Black could do it. That crossed my mind, but he would rewrite it, and I don't think you could do that. I actually think John Watts could do it. Like, could. Not an amazing job, but could do it. But the problem is, like, there's not many people who are that jokey and referential and understand cinema as much, so I would just say Ryan Johnson, like I don't think Spielberg would do it or something, and I think he's, like, the wrong generation. I think it should either be, I would just go Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright or Ryan Johnson would be the only two I think who could do it. Austin, how did working at your school radio station lead to meeting your wife? Also, what kind of music did you play? She was a DJ there and saw me speak at a student thing. That's how she first saw me and thought I was cute and stuff. And then we dated later because she was there a lot, and we became, anyway, it's the whole thing. It was like it was art school in New York, so it was indie music. I played like the Block Party right before they came out, like let's say at the beginning of the school year they weren't really big, and I played their EP that they sent us a lot, and they broke out towards the end of the year. Like Postal Service, we played. I was just a DJ, I wasn't a station manager, but Postal Service was played there a lot early on. Stuff like indie stuff like Pretty Girls Make Rays, Beck, Radiohead, but a lot of like indie-ish stuff around that time. And Mike Kroll was there. Mike Kroll loved cake at the time. I don't know if he still does, but I remember at the time he made us put up the poster. It's still going, WSVA. It has a Instagram. I follow it. I hope they're doing well. What would you do if Creatures and Furiosa? I would scream. Also, why the fuck didn't you tell me? Cornbread, since Inside Out 2's writers had a team of teenage girls. Hold on. Okay, had a team of teenage girls they consulted with constantly to make this movie. Does that make the things you said about it 3 weeks ago irrelevant or whatever? What? Well, no. I do find it just odd that it's like you're doing something based on... No. But yeah, I guess so. Nathaniel Fogel, got any Sonic merch? I actually don't think we do. We have a bunch of Sonic comics here. I think we have like a Sonic Happy Meal toy somewhere, but not a ton. You'd think we would. I should probably get them a stuffed animal at some point. A J-Man in the morning, nice. Nathaniel Fogel, what's a character you'd like to see pop up in X-Men 97? Gateway. Gateway was always my favorite X-Men character. I like Gateway. I don't know if he showed up in the original. I forget if he did. I would like Gateway. And that Forge showed up. Forge was a big one for me. I would like the New Mutants to show up. Like Danny Moonstar is my favorite, so I'd love Danny Moonstar. Favorite fictional song in a movie? I'm going to go Four Town is up there. I think Four Town doesn't get as much respect. A lot of the Spinal Tap stuff, A Mighty Wind stuff. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. Sorry. What's something you wish happens in each of the Beatles biopic? Another Nathaniel Fogel. I would say I would like certain scenes that overlap based on what it matters to people, but I'd like each of those scenes, like someone, it's like 3 of them, some 2. I'd like them to mess around with that. But I'd like to see the New York Ed Sullivan stuff. I think that would be interesting. Al Vasquez, what is the worst X-Men story you read? Worst X-Men character, what you've read and seen? I didn't like post Age of Apocalypse as much, like the Onslaught stuff, but I don't know. I would love to reread all that at some point, but we'll see. Did you hear about how much money Tommy Tooby's cousin Perry Peacock had lost each? I had heard about that. I also saw Tommy Tooby. I saw this, like, they had ads to see the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern, and I was like, man, Tubi does not give a shit. Like, it's 2024, and they're like, hey, have you seen the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern? Like, what? Who? Super Dusky said a J-turn is going in reverse and doing a U-turn. Then I definitely think that was an vanishing point. No, I that's crazy. All right. Okay, last question from Al Vasquez. Have you heard about Cassandra Nova and her crazy backstory from the comic? She's the main antagonist in Deadpool and Wolverine. I have heard about her, but what I've also found interesting is, like, her character plays into the story that Remember It, the X-Men 97 episode was based on. So I'm wondering, like, how much these are connected. Like, is Deadpool and Hugh Jackman going to show up in X-Men 97? That would be so cool. I would love that, though. I don't have a P.O. Box. Maybe one day. Is a song fictional if it is performed by a fictional band, but is it in fact performed and can be listened to? That is an interesting one. It's true. I was thinking, if you've seen that TikTok where it's like, like this guy finding sheet music of songs that were never recorded. That's a pretty cool TikTok. Anyway, but I do think, yeah, I guess it's not technically fictional because it's a real song. I guess the real question is, are there any fictional bands who have fictional songs that are talked about as title but not actually played? That would be the real question. And the last question for Not Plausible, you ever sit on a taping of a studio show? I've only done it once, and I thought I was going to do more, and I wish I had done Conan. I don't know why I didn't. And maybe I should do Seth Meyers, and I work close to where Colbert is, and I always think about it, because I'd love to be... When I moved to New York, I was like, I'm going to do Letterman, Conan, Jon Stewart, and only just did Jon Stewart. The only thing, I might have talked about this before, the only thing was Lewis Black was on it, and it really showed to me, because, you're on it, and then you watch it, obviously, later. And, show's almost over. You watch it at home, and when we watch it at home, like, Jon Stewart in studio is not as charismatic as he is on screen, which was interesting, and Lewis Black in the taping was, like, the most charismatic person in the room. Like, it was like everybody paid attention to him. Like, it was just like he was amazing in the room, but, like, less so on camera. And I think Richard Lewis was the guest, and he was really funny. Anyway, it was a cool experience. I wish I would like to do more of them. Anyway, I think that's it. I hope to have The People's Joker finally out tomorrow, and Godzilla vs. Kong with Sophie soon after that. I do have a new kind of video that's going to come out next week, a new format that I hope y'all like. So hype. It probably won't come out till after the next Movie Crap Live. I'd hope to be on a Wednesday next week, but we'll see. But I hope you're enjoying the content. Sorry again I did so many shorts. It is honestly just because that's what I could get out at the time. But that's what happens. But I'll see y'all next week. I hope you guys have a good night. Thank you for being here. Thank you to everyone who gave a super chat. I really appreciate it. I don't know if I'll do the Furiosa bit again, but hopefully I'm going to have other bits. I don't know. I hope Foghorn Leghorn was as funny as we hoped it would be. But either way, thank you for putting up with me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. And subscribe if you would like to. Thank you very much, and have a good night. See you later.